Welcome to another week of Kona Kids Podcast. We're glad you're here.
Yay!
Keep in mind, your picture is unique and special in its own way. When we say marker, you could be using a pencil or crayons or an iPad. You get to follow along and create your own drawing next to us. We hope you'll share your drawing with us by sending it to Kona Kids. There's information in the episode description for how to send it to us. We would love to see what you create. Let's see what Andee has in store for us today.
Hello, Kona Kids, and welcome to episode 5 of the Kona Kids podcast. This week, our topic is resiliency, and this is week 1 of a 3-part series talking about feelings of anxiety. So today, we are going to focus on resiliency, and resiliency is a really cool word for the ability to bounce back. That's what it means. So sometimes if you think about a hair elastic, when we stretch it really big and then we let it go, it bounces back. So sometimes this happens in real life. We'd be sitting in class at school, we're learning something new, we're stretching our brain, we might be finding it really challenging, and then we bounce back when we are not feeling stretched. So resiliency is something that we do all day, every day, for anything that we find tough or difficult or something that's happened to us. And we are going to focus on resiliency over this episode in the first part of our 3-part series about feelings of anxiety. What you'll need for today's activity is some paper, pens, markers, anything you can color with, and a grown-up if you need to help you. We are going to do a little resiliency art project at the end after I read a quick story. So get comfortable, find a spot where you can sit and listen, and we're going to read a little story that me and my daughter wrote, and it's called Playground Drama. Playground Drama. Hi, my name is Brooklyn, and I'm 8 years old. I have 4 really good friends at school: Lucy, Olivia, Sophie, and Allie. We have been playing in the same grade together since kindergarten. We always love to play together at school and outside of school. Olivia is loud. She loves to do cartwheels wherever we go. She hardly walks from one place to another. She just cartwheels her way around. She is very fun to play with. Sometimes, when we are together, our stomach hurts from laughing so hard at something silly. Allie is a little more quiet. I sit beside her in each class. She is very smart and really cautious. She asks a lot of questions, and she makes sure we are doing things right. I always ask for help in class when I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing, or I just wasn't paying attention. Sophie is creative. She's good at art and has so many amazing ideas. She comes up with the coolest games to play. She started the game we've been playing at recess. Lastly, there's Lucy, and she and I have known each other since preschool. We live in the same neighborhood, and I really enjoy playing together. We play lots inside of school and outside of school. My mom says we act like siblings. I think she says that because we see so much of each other and sometimes we fight over little small things. We all love to play together and we get along really well. But recently at school, things have changed and it's been really hard to know what to do. This story all started a few days ago when my friends and I started to play a new game outside at recess. It was made up by Lucy and Sophie. They're so creative. We were all pretending that we were fairies living in the deep, enchanted woods besides our school. We all have special powers that we used in the game. We came up with our own powers, but we pretended that other people outside the enchanted woods don't know what our powers are or that we have them. Allie and Sophie could make anything grow and come back to life. My power was to become invisible and heal injuries without others knowing. Olivia could fly and had animal power, meaning she could talk to any animal. Lucy was the queen of this magical land, and her power was to control the weather. We had so much fun chasing imaginary dragons, witches, and wizards. We've been playing this game for weeks now. But today, something unusual happened. Lucy decided to change the rules. As the queen of the enchanted woods, I will now be in control of all powers. You have to ask me when you want to use the power I give you, announced Lucy at recess. I felt this was really unfair. I didn't like the feeling something was being taken away from me. Lucy, that's not fair. I don't want to give up my powers, I said. Too bad, Brooklyn. I'm the queen now, so I get to rule the land, Lucy said. Lucy, Olivia, and Allie and Sophie all started to play with each other again with the new rule. I felt left out. I felt hurt. I felt angry. But I decided to let it go and keep playing with them today. I did not want to miss out on the fun of the game, but I was unsure about how these new rules were going to make the game funner if Lucy got to rule everything. When recess was over, it was hard to stop thinking about it, but I put it aside and paid attention to what my teacher was talking about. I came into class. At my table, I sit next to Lucy and Allie. Miss Hoover, our grade 3 teacher, is my favorite. She's fun and serious. Miss Hoover is so good at making projects fun to do. Today, she got right into talking about this upcoming diorama project that we're going to work on. Miss Hoover asked us to think of a storybook that we would like to create a diorama for the school diorama fair coming up in the next few months. Sparkling Elementary is doing a diorama fair in 1 month's time. Each student will pick their favorite book and try to build a scene from this book, Miss Hoover said. Take a few minutes and with a blank piece of paper to think about the book you would want to represent and ideas of the scene you would like to showcase from that book, Miss Hoover directed. We all started to get out a paper and pencil from our desks. I felt really excited about this project. I had so many favorite books. I started to think about which book I wanted to represent. But then something happened that's never really happened before. My mind went blank. I was struggling to decide which one I wanted to focus on. There were just so many. I couldn't think of which book I would do or which scene I would do from which book. Lucy leaned over and said, I'm going to do Dogman. I instantly felt a tinge of disappointment. That was one of my favorite book series as well. Allie whispered and said, I'm doing Dragon Masters. Now my insides were feeling a little bit panicked. I felt I needed to pick fast. I didn't want to miss out on any other books that other people might be choosing. I was thinking as fast as I could, looking all around the room and feeling a little frantic. What's my favorite book? What's my favorite book? What's my favorite book? I said to myself. I started to feel really flustered. My cheeks got hot. My face was turning red. And Miss Hoover walked around the room chatting with students as she saw what they were doing. Mine was blank. What was she going to say when she saw my blank piece of paper? As she got closer, my eyes welled up with tears. How was I going to get all this done by myself? I felt sick to my stomach. I thought I might even throw up. Mrs. Hoover came over and asked if I was okay. No, Miss Hoover, I don't feel very well, I said, and I started to cry. Miss Hoover looked very concerned and asked Lucy to walk me down to the office to call my mom. Miss Hoover sent us to the office, and I called my mom and told her she needed to come get me right away because I was feeling very, very sick. When we were done phoning my mom said she was going to come and get me. Lucy let the secretary know that I wasn't feeling well, and they thanked Lucy and sent her back to class. I felt like I had a lump in my throat, and it was getting more and more painful as the secretary started asking me some questions. She's so kind. I don't understand why I'm so upset. She asked me to wait on the chair by the office and reassures me that my mom will be there quickly. She used a grown-up whisper voice when she was speaking to the other secretary about why I was leaving. And then she gave me a sympathetic look. Sometimes grown-ups do that when they're trying to make me feel better. I kept avoiding eye contact with her. I thought any moment I was going to start crying again. While I sat at the office waiting for my mom to pick me up, my throat kept hurting. I tried to think of something else. I played with the small hole in my jeans. I wanted to get out of this situation so badly. When my mom came in the doors of the school, I started crying right away. I felt relief when I saw her. "What's the matter?" my mom said. I was so embarrassed I couldn't speak. I hugged her side and wouldn't let go. It's okay, my mom said. It was very soothing to know we would be going home and I could just leave this situation. In the car on the way home, my mom asked me again what was wrong, but I just couldn't come up with the words. I just kept crying. When we got home, I felt calmer, safer. I went to my room and put my school things down. I sat on my bed for a little bit, and then my mom came in to talk to me. "What happened in class, Brooklyn? Miss Hoover said that you just suddenly got very upset," she said. I just don't know. I couldn't pick what book for the diorama project," I said. "Lucy and Allie knew right away, and they were picking all the books that I would have picked, and I didn't know, and I felt really rushed." "Ooh, being rushed is very uncomfortable," my mom said. "Yes, and then I started to feel like I was not going to get what I wanted if I didn't speak quickly, and I started to cry." "This is really important to you," my mom said. "It is," I said. "How are you feeling now?" she asked. "I feel really embarrassed that my face got all red and I cried in front of everybody and I don't feel well," I said. "I felt sick to my stomach and my face got all hot," I described to my mom. "Your body was trying to give you a signal that something was not right," she said. "Our body and brain work together all the time to keep us safe. Our brain does not know the difference between a real threat, like a bear, or a make-believe threat, like what book to pick," my mom said. "How come I feel sick and my face got all hot?" I said. "Our brain has this amazing ability to keep us safe. It's working all the time when we're not even thinking about it. It's your animal brain. Our animal brain is in charge of making sure our heart is beating, our body is healing itself, making sure our food is being digested. It's in charge of making our hands and feet move. It's also in charge of keeping us safe. Our animal brain gives us fast energy called adrenaline when we need to get away from danger," she said. "But I wasn't in danger," I said. "I was just sitting at my desk at school." Sometimes our bodies work very fast. They try to keep us safe when we think we might be in danger. I wonder if because you felt so rushed, your body misheard this thought as dangerous, and your animal brain thought you might be in danger," my mom said. "So what happens if my animal brain thinks I'm in danger?" I asked. "Your animal brain will tell you your adrenaline glands to give you some adrenaline, and this is like fast energy. It moves your blood around your body very quickly. It takes from your digestive system. We don't need to digest food if we're in danger. It carries that blood to your heart and your lungs and gets as much oxygen in there as it can, and it carries it down to your big muscles. Oxygen is like food for your muscles. It makes it so that you can run away from a danger really quickly," she said. "But," as she went on, "you weren't actually in danger. You were sitting at your desk, so your body was working very, very hard. You were not using the energy your animal brain was giving you. I wonder if when that happened, that reaction made your stomach feel sick, made your face go red, and made your throat hurt," she described. "Oh," I said. "I didn't realize that my body could do all that from just thinking about something. I don't want my body to ever do that again," I said. "That's the trick," my mom said. "We actually don't want to stop that feeling from happening. If we do, our body can't help us when it's actually in danger. We need to learn how to recognize when we're in real danger or when we're thinking of something that is setting off your animal brain by accident," my mom says. "Well, that makes sense," I said. "How do I know if it's a real danger or just something I'm thinking?" I said. "It felt so real in class." As I said that, I started to get upset and teary again. It feels very real, my mom said. It is hard to know the difference. Even grown-ups struggle to know the difference between a real fear and a thought fear. They do? I said. I was surprised to hear that any grown-ups have any animal brain reaction. Everyone has this reaction, my mom went on. It's part of how humans' brains are made. Our animal brain is always looking out for us. But when we're really worried about something, like feeling rushed or not knowing enough information or too many unknowns, or sometimes we don't feel confident enough or good enough, our animal brain can make this mistake of thinking that we're in danger, my mom explained. I felt worried and rushed that I couldn't pick something right away, I said. That must have set my animal brain off. It sounds like it, my mom said. How do I stop it from being set off by accident? I asked. There are lots of ways we can do that, my mom said. She smiled. Let's stand up and try a few things. We stood up. Let's try jumping around for 30 times, my mom said. When I was jumping, my muscles and breathing changed. When we stopped, I felt calmer. Jumping is one way we can use up our animal brain adrenaline, my mom said. Come with me. I followed her into the bathroom. Put your hands under cold water. And if you want, you can splash some on your face. I tried it. I felt fresh. I felt more calm and more alert. Let's try this too, she said. I followed her back to my room. We put our hands in front of our body as if we were holding a balloon. Take a big breath, she said, and pretend to blow up the balloon. As I took big breaths in, I made my hands come apart to look like I was holding a real balloon. My hands grew further and further apart as my imaginary balloon got bigger. I felt really calm. My head felt clear. How are you feeling now? My mom asked. I feel calm. Like I can think again. I don't feel sick or hot, I said. That's great. These are things you can do at school so that you're not thinking you're sick or needing to come home. You can handle that feeling anywhere, my mom said. Next time it happens, you can remind yourself that you're not in danger. You can use these strategies to calm down your body and problem solve, my mom said. I can, now that I know what the feeling means for danger, I can ask myself, real danger? Or is it just I'm thinking of a danger? I said. That's right. Now you're able to think about your diorama project, she said. I sat down and thought for a few seconds. Yes, I said. I would like to do the Princess in Black, I said confidently. I'll tell my teacher tomorrow. That sounds great, my mom said, and gave me a hug. Sometimes our bodies feel calm, and a hug can help too, she said, smiling at me. Mom, I said, there was something else that happened at school too, I told her. I started to tell her the story about Lucy and the playground game that wasn't just the diorama project that upset me. It was also the game at recess. That can be really hard, she said. Sometimes we need to be flexible and do different directions in games because other children also have great ideas about how the game should be played, she said. Sometimes we also need to share with others how we feel so that everyone can make a choice together. I have been flexible and have been playing the game the new way, I explained, but I haven't told them how I feel. Tomorrow I'll try and tell them how I feel, I said. Okay, Kona kids, we are going to pause this story now and we are going to finish it in the next episode of the Kona Kids podcast. Right now, if you can, take out your plain piece of paper and we are going to draw, as best as you can, a flower the full size of the paper. So my paper is sitting in front of me and the short end of the paper is closest to me. So I'm looking at the paper sort of standing up. In the middle of my paper, I drew a circle, and then I drew a number of petals coming out of that circle. You can do thin petals, you can do thick petals, you could choose to make the petals different shapes. I'm not super artistic, so mine are just rounded at the top. Then I drew a long stem coming down to the ground and drew a few little roots at the bottom of my plant. On the side of the stem, I drew through two little branches, one on each side, and on each of these little branches, I drew some leaves coming out the side. Once you've finished drawing your flower, what we're going to do is, before we decorate it, we're going to spend some time talking about or thinking about what makes you resilient and what makes people resilient in general. So for me, I know one thing that helps me to be resilient, to bounce back, is sleep. So I'm going to write the word sleep along the roots of my flower. So if you need a grown-up to help you with that, you can definitely ask them to help you with the words. Or you could draw yourself sleeping. The other thing that really helps me to be resilient is when I say to myself, I can handle it. Sometimes at first, when something happens, like when Brooklyn was thinking about what story she was going to do her diorama project, or when Lucy changed the rules of the game on the playground, she really needed to remind herself that she can handle it. So sometimes when something happens really suddenly like that, we often feel a little bit of panic, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I remind myself that I can handle it. And I'm going to write that down at the bottom of my stem near my roots as well. If there's anything that you know that helps you to be resilient, you can write it down on the ground at the roots as well. The next area we're going to look at is the leaves. Now the leaves, I want you to write what things you do that you are good at. What things do you know, or what skills do you know that you have that help you to be confident, or that help you to feel good about yourself? So for me, I know that I am a good helper, and that makes me feel good when I can help someone else. So I'm going to write helper in one of my leaves. I also know something that helps me to remind me or gives me confidence, that I can be kind. I think about others and I make sure that I'm being inclusive of others. The other thing that I'm going to write in my leaves is that I can be funny. I like to tell jokes. I have a good sense of humor. I like to laugh. And those things help me to be resilient, because sometimes I just have to laugh at my mistake and I bounce back from it. I wonder if you can take some time and think about what makes you confident, what makes you who you are, what skills are you good at that you can write in some of those leaves. Then as we move up the flower, I want you to write your name in the middle of your flower in the circle. And just, you can decorate that later, make it quite beautiful. Now each petal of the flower, I want you to spend some time thinking about people that love you. Who do you have in your life that surround you as a person? So the petals in this flower are surrounding you. Who builds you up? Who makes you feel good to be around? So if I'm going to do mine, I'm going to write, I'm a mom, so I'm going to write my kids in one of these petals. And I'm going to write my mom, my brother, I'm going to write my cousin. I'm just going to come up with ideas of people that I feel support me, that love me, where I feel that I can rely on, and that surround me and support me. When you're all done drawing your flower cone of kids, I encourage you to put it up somewhere or share it with your family and show them what helps to make you resilient. What qualities do you have? What supports do you have? And what do you physically need? Like me, I need sleep. That helps me a lot. to feel resilient. And that's it for us today, Kona Kids. I hope you tune in next week to hear the end of Playground Drama. Have a good weekend. Bye.
This podcast is created in Canada by Kona Kids. Your host is Andee Dale, a registered clinical counselor. Please remember this is for entertainment and educational purposes and not clinical advice. Thanks for listening. I hope you tune in next week.